right, guys, we are back with more of my top 100 books of all time, SFF Books and Series. And just like with the past two videos, all I have to say is this order could be shuffled and I would be fine. Any of these books could be at the number 71 spot or the 80th spot, just depending on my mood. But let's go ahead and get into these. I will preface this with saying there are quite a few YA coming up in this video. So if you don't like YA, you can skip this one or, check out what else I have, skip through and see what else I have in this list. But first, coming in at number 80, the one that I have to talk about because I fell in love with it through SPSFC. And that would be the Way Stations trilogy by N.C. Scrimgeour. And I've read 1.5 books. So the second book is actually on my pile of shame. I started it and I really wasn't in the mood for it. But the first book was my favorite of the SPSFC, the year that I participated last year. And so I know I like this series. It had nothing to do with the fact that I wasn't having a good time right then. It was just that that's not what I was in the mood for. So I have read, like I said, 1.5 of these, and I really enjoy it. If you've been looking for a book or series that reads like Mass Effect, you found it. It's this one right here. And I'm so excited to continue with the series. I actually have all 3 books on my wish list, so I don't own them physically, but I do have the audio, and just so excited, so excited. I know the third book is coming via audio. Next up, we have All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. This is a duology, and I really enjoy it. This is one of the seafaring adventures that I've actually really liked. And Adeline Grace, I feel like her writing is very divisive. I don't feel like she reads young, but there are a lot of people that do feel that way. And I have a feeling that there's something about these books that's like speak young to some people, but don't to others. And I can't tell you what that is, but I love this. We have kind of like a found family. We have a princess who's coming into her own power. Something goes wrong during her ascension ceremony, and she has to figure out how to make it all right again. And one of the things I really liked this is that we have a princess who's trained her whole life, not only to be the queen of this realm, but also to protect her people and to master the magic of her family. And one of the things that really gripped me was in the beginning, things go wrong, like I said, and she knows that she is the right person to be on the throne. There's really no question in her mind. She's fighting for her right to get back to where she needs to be. And all of this time, her focus is her people. Like, she knows that she's the right person, but I think it proves along the way to the reader that yes, she is the right person. And then some of the descriptions in here, the imagery, oh, it was so great. The crown that she wears, like just some of the imagery I thought was really well done. Now, I will say that the second one kind of devolves into more romance than this first one, but I still really enjoyed the duology. Now for one that I was almost certain would become one of my favorite duologies ever because of this first book. The second one took a turn I didn't quite like. However, I still really enjoyed both of these books, but that would be The Other Side of the Sky by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. Now, I will say that the second book, the reason that I had an issue with it was an amnesia trope. I don't really like amnesia tropes, so it kind of, that's part of the reason I don't like amnesia tropes, but I can't get into it without telling you spoilers. But in this book, we have 2 kingdoms, a Sky Kingdom and an Earth Kingdom, and we have an heir to the Sky Kingdom and an heir to the Earthen Kingdom that come head to head and start to realize like the things that they had been taught about their different societies might not be true. And things start to evolve once the Earth Kingdom starts to learn about technology and the Sky Kingdom starts to learn how magic works. And it's really cool. I think from beginning to end, this book had me absolutely enthralled. And like I said, with this book, I thought I was in for a brand new favorite series. And it didn't quite work out that way, but I absolutely love this one. I think this one I gave 5 stars, and then the second one I gave 4. So it's still a great duology. This one, the back of this says, a living goddess searches the skies desperate for hope. A crowned prince falls to earth looking for answers, both destined to save their worlds or destroy them completely. But there's like a sci-fi twist that comes into play in the second book, and I did like that aspect of it, and I thought that was really cool. So if you guys get into this, just know Amy Kaufman is one of my favorite authors. I have loved everything that she's touched. Now, I haven't read everything, but everything I have read, I have loved. Next, I mentioned that this would come up in a later video, the Far Reaches collection. This is short stories done by Amazon, and they are all sci-fi. I have really enjoyed these collections that they've been putting out. I have read most of these. I still have the Veronica Roth one, and I'm really excited for that one. That's probably the one I'm most excited for, which is why I put it off, because you know I'm like that. But all of these so far I have given 4 stars with the exception of one. And I gave that one 3 stars. But these collections have been so good. And I think the thing that surprised me is I gave James S.A. Corey a 4-star. If you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of The Expanse, but I really loved the story that was in the Far Reaches collection, and that's tempting me to try something else. Now, I am going to be trying something by Daniel Abraham, you guys know that. But I love these collections, and I hope Amazon never stops putting them out, because I have enjoyed them so much, and I think everybody should give them a try. They're pretty dang good. Now, this one is coming a little lower on the list because I've only read the first book, but the Ashes of Averin series by Tiago Abdallah. I started A Shade of Madness, and then my son got, you know, his Christmas vacation and decided I didn't need to read at all. There was no reason I needed to read. And then the 26th hit and something else released, and I just had to be like, okay, wait, we're gonna read A Shade of Madness later. But I absolutely loved this first book. Now, you guys might start to notice that we are getting into 5-star reads for me. I love religion as a central part of a fantasy story because it's something that is what people still go to war over now. And the way Tiago tackles religion in this series is so good because he's not putting 2 known religions and making them butt heads. He has created 2 religions, one centering around life and one centering around death. And I think that they are so cool to read about. Absolutely just kind of brilliant little touches. The ending of this book had me just yelling at Tiago. Like, what is this? I'm very, very excited to get back into this series. And like I said, I love this first book, and the covers, guys, the covers. I think these are probably some of the most beautiful covers on my shelves. Absolutely love them. Next, we have another one that seems kind of love it or hate it. And that would be The Daughter of Dr. Moreau by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I loved this. I do happen to know that some people don't like this one because of the spice factor. There is some spiciness in this, but I really loved hearing the story of Dr. Moreau from the daughter's perspective. I really loved kind of this Mexican twist on the tale. And I really like how Sylvia Moreno Garcia uses Mexican politics to tell her stories as well. I always really enjoy that about her stories. I say always. I'm a love it or hate it with Sylvia Moreno Garcia, so this just happens to be one that I really love. Next would be The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He. And guys, I've recommended this to people who, like, they don't like it, and I don't get it. I don't get it. I gave this book 5 stars. I loved it so much. So we have 2 sisters who have been separated, and one of them lives on an island that is secluded with just an AI for companionship. And all she knows, she just has this burning desire to find her sister. Now, we are living in a post-apocalyptic type world here. There's a lot of things that have gone wrong with the ecosystem. And we're not really sure what has happened because our main character is not really sure what has happened. And the struggle that our main character has is this island, she's secluded. So how is she supposed to get back to her sister? Things evolve over this book that had me shook. And I was like, okay, I didn't see the ending coming, and I thought it was great. And the way everything went down, I was just kind of like, whoa. Like, I didn't know what else to say other than that. And I think everyone should give this a try. I really, really love this book. All right, next is Together We Burn by Isabel Ibanez. Now, you guys will probably notice that something is missing from this list, and it's because I created this list and then read the book. But Isabel Ibanez, you guys know I really enjoy her writing. What the River Knows should probably be on this list somewhere. However, like I said, I created the list before I read that book. But Together We Burn is a fantasy that has a Spanish take to it that I absolutely loved. So instead of matadors, we have dragadors. They fight dragons. And then we have like this beautiful magic system that's not complicated, and how legacy can entrench some of these traditions. And I loved it. I loved it. I don't know what else to say about this one. This is one I have a hard time talking about other than giving synopses and saying that I loved it. But the writing in here is great. The characters are fantastic. There's an enemies to lovers trope in here, so be prepared for that. If you don't like enemies to lovers, you might not like this one. And I think it's more rivals to lovers or misunderstood people trying to make a connection. I don't know how you would classify it, but mainly enemies to lovers. I adored this. The politics, the dragon fighting, the flamenco dancing, the whole Spanish culture that is just entrenched in this book, I thought was absolutely fantastic. So I debated putting this one this low on the list, but I have to be honest with myself when I'm thinking about it. If I have to think about a top 10 sci-fi, this hits my radar only because of how impactful it has been to me in the past. But as far as enjoyment goes, and as far as like where I'd rank it on a favorites list, I have to be a little bit more honest with myself and say that Brave New World, while it is a fantastic story, and I absolutely love it, I love all 100 of these books. So I don't know how to rank it amongst the rest of these books other than to say all of these books have been fantastic, and Brave New World just happens to be one of the ones that I love that comes a little lower on the list now. I've read a lot of sci-fi since I've read this. I've read a lot of fantasy since I've read this, and I do think it's one that I will continue to come back to because it was central in a belief system that I have and the way I think. But I love Brave New World. Absolutely love Brave New World. And I lost my copy in a house fire, have never replaced it, so I do need to purchase another copy. I just want to find one that kind of speaks to me, that I like, one that's a more fancy edition than some of the paperbacks I've been finding. But love Brave New World. Will forever love Brave New World. And I think everyone should read it at least once, especially with the way things have been going in our economy and the things that, you know, we keep hearing about. Brave New World is something that I think everyone should read once. And finishing off this video, we have the surprise contender, Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. I was not expecting to like this book at all. I was just so intrigued by the concept that I couldn't get past it. And the funny thing is, this is an Andrew book. If you guys have been around any amount of time, you know what I'm talking about. Thematic, character-driven, all that stuff. No plot, all vibes. Those types of books I do not go for. However, I had this on my wish list because I really wanted to give it a try. And guess who bought it for me? That would be Andrew. He's like, okay, it was on your wish list. I'm getting it for you. Yeah, now you have to read it. And I'm like, okay, fine. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to, but this book is bittersweet. It's about an AI who basically just observes people. Her observances color the way she thinks, Clara. The reason it's called Clara and the Sun is because she kind of worships the sun. Why is this? Because she's solar powered. So she has very interesting views on what the sun is, how it works, how she works, how humans work. And I just loved it. I loved everything about it. And it's one of those that it doesn't even make sense why I liked it. That it makes zero sense. If you're trying to figure out my tastes and come across this is the outlier. Like I don't know why I love it so much, but I do, and I would die for Clara. So it's amazing. It's amazing. All right, that is it for my video today. I hope you guys will join my Patreon where I will be doing giveaways and contests and all of that fun stuff, challenges, buddy reads. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, there was a lot of YA in this one, a lot of YA. I do try to split them up, but I gotta be honest with my feelings and really tell you where they stand in my top 100. Have a lovely day. All of my links are in a Linktree link down below, and hope to see you later. Bye.